Imagine being arrested one morning. You haven't done anything wrong, but two gentlemen in formal attire are in your room to inform you that a trial against you has begun. This is the chilling premise of Franz Kafka's novel, The Trial. When the protagonist, Josef K, asks what the charges are, they don't know. When he asks who is accusing him, they can't say. He isn't taken to a prison, but he is told that the process is now in motion. A trial without a known accusation, without a public hearing, and without any clear rules. Kafka's nightmare forces us to ask a crucial question. How much do we take for granted the procedural rights that are supposed to protect us? What if the very system designed to provide justice was, in itself, a labyrinth of absurdity? The experience of reading Kafka's The Trial is an exercise in disorientation, confusion, absurdity, nonsense. These are the words that come to mind. It's not the enjoyable, whimsical absurdity you might find in the works of Douglas Adams or Terry Pratchett. No, this is a heavy, almost suffocating absurdity. It's a feeling that something is deeply wrong with the world being presented, and it's profoundly unsettling. There's a certain kind of torment in being drawn into this world, a world that reflects the chaos and senselessness that can sometimes feel inherent to life itself. But does it have to mean something? Does all absurdity need to have a deeper, hidden significance? Or is the point simply the absurdity itself? From the very beginning, one might grapple with the idea that the entire ordeal is a metaphor. Perhaps the trial isn't happening in a real court, but inside the head of the protagonist, Josef K. He could be judging himself for a crime he won't admit to. Many of the scenes have a dreamlike, almost hallucinatory quality. The strange abduction of a young woman by a law student, the bizarre interrogations that feel more like scenes from a madhouse. It's all presented as if it were a terrible, nonsensical dream. This is, perhaps, the essence of the Kafkaesque. But even within this dreamscape, some things are strikingly clear. The entire work is a powerful critique of bureaucracy, a system that moves forward on its own, a relentless machine with no regard for the human beings caught in its gears. And what is the trial about? That's a good question. The chilling answer seems to be that it doesn't matter. As one of the characters in the novel says, the proceedings gradually merge into the verdict, whether you know what you're accused of or not. What Kafka achieved with stunning success was to paint a portrait of an inquisitorial, secret, and non-public trial in all its twisted glory. A process completely stripped of any procedural safeguards for the accused. It's as if you took every principle our modern legal systems are built on and turned them completely upside down. It's a potent reminder that the rights we consider fundamental have not always been a given. They are the product of a long and difficult evolution. The inquisitorial process has its own peculiar logic. For instance, the accused has no idea what the case is about. From this single, terrifying premise, a cascade of absurdities follows. The accused can, technically, submit petitions to the court. But since the proceedings are secret, and no one knows what the petition should be about, any submission in the early stages can only be effective by pure, random chance. And what about lawyers? Their role is complicated. The law doesn't actually permit a defense. It merely tolerates it. In fact, it's debatable whether the law even implies that much. A lawyer can't really help the accused through official, carefully prepared documents filled with Latin phrases. The only way to exert any influence is through informal, behind-the-scenes connections and personal contacts. As one character explains, the law says that the innocent are acquitted, but it says nothing about judges being influenced. But I have learned the opposite. I don't know of a single real acquittal, but I know of many cases of influence. The court itself is a bizarre entity. The text suggests the existence of multiple judicial systems, somehow separate from the state. This is hinted at when the executioners are leading Josef K, and they pass a police officer, a real agent of state power, who seems to be from a different world entirely. This raises the question, what exactly is this court? Where does it derive its authority to judge? Adding to the strangeness is the physical location of the court officers. They are not in grand, imposing buildings, but scattered in the attics of residential houses. This detail only deepens the sense of surreal displacement and the arbitrary nature of this so-called justice. It's a system that operates in the hidden, dusty corners of society, a world away from the transparent and accountable institutions we expect. So, Kafka's work stands as a powerful, bizarre warning. He illustrates the nightmare of a trial completely devoid of any procedural guarantees, reminding us to cherish the luxury of the legal principles we now have. It's a chilling depiction of a world where justice is arbitrary, secretive, and ultimately meaningless. But this brings us to a more unsettling thought. What if the opposite were true? What if a system had all the rules, all the guarantees, and yet could still be profoundly absurd? This is precisely the territory explored by another great writer, Albert Camus, in his novel The Stranger. Here we find the other side of the coin. The two authors provide a stunning critique of legal reality, but from two completely different vantage points. Kafka's nightmare is a labyrinth with no map and no rules, a world of pure chaos. Camus' nightmare is a perfectly constructed, sterile machine that operates with chilling precision, yet still manages to miss the point of justice entirely. Hats off to both. They would have had quite a lot to talk about. One wonders what that conversation would sound like. A dialogue between the absurdity of a lawless void and the absurdity of a flawlessly logical yet inhuman system. Ultimately, placing these two visions side by side reveals a deeper truth. The nightmare of injustice isn't just about the absence of rules, but also about how even the most well-defined systems can be warped. It reminds us that justice is a fragile construct, and the principles we hold dear are not immutable laws of nature, but hard-won achievements that require our constant vigilance and appreciation, no matter which reality we find ourselves in.